Hi, I'm here to talk with you today. It's hard to follow Elise in her wonderful work. I'm here to talk about some case studies that we've been doing for Healthy Babies, Bright Futures. We're going to present a case study we have in progress that also looks at the costs and the benefits of avoided lead exposure due to lead-based paint. And our goal with this case study, I can't see if my slides are up. No, I'll just maybe talk and then I'll catch up. And you may be asking why another cost-benefit analysis for lead-based paint. But the idea behind our research is even because the hazards are well-known and a lot of studies have been done to quantify the benefits, we wanted to be able to make a tailored, scalable model that people can use to make the case for funding, whether it be on the local level to remediate housing, at the state level, the national level, to the federal government, to nonprofits, to whoever they can find that will help fund these things. We also wanted to inform the question in terms of, are there bigger benefits to the more permanent, in terms of economic benefits, more permanent structures? There's a difficult question of the more permanent solutions of full lead abatement cost more money. In terms solutions with the same amount of money, you can stabilize paint in more houses, but that needs to be maintained over the years. Okay. And we also wanted to help inform the question of what is the cost of delaying remediation. So in order to do this, we looked at three different methods of lead paint abatement. The first was what we're terming here interim. For those of you familiar with HUD data, this is HUD Strategy 3, cleaning, complete paint stabilization, and floor treatments. The next, which we're terming semi-permanent here, includes full window replacement plus some of these other paint stabilization techniques. And then permanent is the full abatement, either encapsulation, enclosure, or removal of the lead-based paint. And so in order to do this, to look at this cost of delay, we wanted to look at two scenarios. And so we look at remediation occurring in the home before the children are born, so they spend their entire lives through age 6 living with the paint abated, or if we delay and we wait until the abatement occurs at age 3. In order to do this, we drew upon the wide body of existing data that's out there. We used dust levels from the American Healthy Homes Survey, and we used information on dust level declines from the published literature. I have our main two studies we were using were Dixon et al. And David Jacobs, who's on this panel later, was one of the co-authors on these from 2005 and 2012. We modeled the changes in children's blood. So it was different from Dr. Gould's model where she was looking at surveillance and NHANES data. We're actually modeling the children's blood in the homes, which can take into account lead from all sources, including the dust from the lead paint. We looked at there's also the well-established, which you've heard about, relationship between lead and IQ loss. So we used a variety of functions from the literature that allowed us to quantify the prevented IQ loss due to remediating the lead-based paint. And we were able to do the way that the lead dust levels are in the HUD data. They're by geographic region, by age of housing, et cetera. So we were able to break this down. And also by low income. The economic value assigned to the IQ point has wide precedence in the literature. For the purposes of this talk, we're actually using the same value that Dr. Gould used, so we won't be throwing too many numbers at you at once here. So, on this slide here, I'm showing simply in all households that have a child under 6, the number of IQ points saved, and we're looking at older housing here. So this is housing that was built before 1959. This is the set of housing in the country that has higher lead and paint. And as you can see, there is a wide benefit to all the different strategies. But using these, what we're terming the permanent strategies, does save overall more IQ points in these households. And what this analysis does not include, which is important to realize, is that the more permanent solutions can last much longer. You know, if you go out 20 years, you're considering more than perhaps one family, so many more children than we have in this analysis. We looked at the data a variety of different ways. We looked at it by region, we looked at it by age of housing, and each way we looked at it, we found that the benefits, so the avoided IQ loss, when we monetized that, greatly outweighed the costs. And we did find that the highest benefits were for the more intense remediation strategies and in the older homes. If you were thinking of Elise's number, Dr. Gould's number she left you with, when we look at our cost-benefit ratio, we get as high as, for every dollar spent, $14 in return in terms of avoided IQ loss. And remember, we're only looking at IQ here in this calculation. And on average, in some of the regions with the less, or some of the housing vintages with the less high concentrations of lead, it's on the order of 3 to 5. So we do find substantial net benefits. So net benefits are when you subtract out the cost of remediation and only consider the cost of the IQ points saved. In the less intense remediations, it's on the order of $26,000 per home or $44 billion nationally. It goes up from there. In the window replacement strategy, it's $39,000 per home and $63 billion nationally. And more permanent, we're up to $68 billion nationally. And what this calculation assumes is 36 million kids under the age of 6 who are living in 2.7 million homes nationwide. And these are just the homes with kids under 6 that were built before 1959. So it's not all of the homes in the country with lead-based paint, but it's the most, the ones with the more significant hazards. We also find that there's a cost to waiting. So if you wait until age 3, till you wait till that blood test comes back from the doctor's office, if you wait until then, nationwide, there's a lost benefit of $60 billion and because of the IQ points you've already lost by age 3 due to the lead point exposures. So I think that that's a very significant tidbit that's come out of our analysis. And that, as I said, we're only looking at IQ. We're not looking at these attention-related issues or any of the other adverse effects you've heard about this morning associated with lead. And just to help you a little bit with the differences between Dr. Gould's study and this case study that we're looking at, as you heard her say, the IQ benefits from her study are very large. That assumes 6 to 8 million children, so that's all the children who have blood lead levels greater than 2 micrograms per deciliter, although, you know, some with very high levels, and they're assuming their blood lead is returned to 2 micrograms per deciliter or less. In this case study, we're only looking at the children in those, in this slide here, in the 1.02 million homes that are categorized in Dr. Gould's study as being low income with a child under 6 with a lead-based paint hazard. So we're looking at only 1.4 million children to calculate these numbers. So that's where some of the differences lie. It's the number of children, the number of homes we're thinking about here. So to leave you with a few take-home messages, all the remediation strategies that we looked at were cost-effective in terms of, in only including IQ. So all of these other health effects would simply add to the benefits if they were included in the analysis. Every year that lead paint remediation is delayed, there's a significant cost to the children and a significant cost to society. We found that the more intense and permanent remediation strategies, the full abatement, they have higher economic benefits, and they do, of course, last longer, and those benefits will be felt for years to come. And that also saves more IQ points and more, protects more children. So that's what I have.